August 2nd, 2023. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Member Yeager, Member Schilling, Member Onstad, Member Luker, and Mayor Iverson are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next on our agenda is open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on items that are on or may not be on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. You will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you conduct yourself in a professional, courteous manners and refrain from the use of profanity. Failure to abide by this policy may result in the loss of your privilege to speak. Do we have anybody here tonight? No, just coming to watch. All right, sounds good. All right, next on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Number one, consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for July 18th, 2023. Do we have any questions or changes? If not, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Member Luker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So passes. Number two, consider approving the minutes of the work session meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for July 26th, 2023. If there are no questions or changes, do we have a motion to approve?
So.
We have a motion to approve by Member Luker. We have a second by Member Schilling.
Sure.
We have a member by Member Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Consent agenda number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Does any council member wish to pull an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve number 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Acknowledge receipts of reports of officers, boards, commissions, and department heads, number 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Does anybody wish to pull a report? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business, number 12. We're moving right along. Number 12, to consider the update and revision of the City of Wyoming personnel policy. Mr. Linwood, are you starting with that?
I will start that. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and members of the council, we have presented to you a revised and updated personnel policy regarding the during the 2023 legislative session that we talked about at our last meeting. As of yesterday, that it was legalized adult cannabis in Minnesota for recreational use as of August 1st. Due to that law, it's necessary that we update the City of Wyoming personnel policy regarding the use of candidates. The updates of the policy continue to prohibit employees from being under the influence of cannabis products while at work. Employers may continue to maintain drug-free policies at the workplace and distance employees who use cannabis during working hours or who report to work impaired. The updates also enact policies prohibiting employees from bringing cannabis products, including edibles, to work. The new law will not change any of the guidelines for employees that hold commercial driver's license CDLs. Those are regulated by federal law, and then regulations supervised by the Federal Department of Transportation. Federal law preempts state law related to cannabis use. In fact, the DOT states that DOT recreational marijuana notice that it does not authorize the use of Schedule I drugs, including marijuana, for any reason. As a result, cities should, including us as our recommendation, should continue to follow their drug testing procedures related to CDL holders and enforce prohibitions against cannabinoids for CDL holders. The new law will also not have any effect on public safety employees who carry a firearm. They cannot lawfully use marijuana under federal law. Federal law prohibits cities from providing firearms or ammunition to an employee who knows or who has reasons to think is using marijuana. There are the 7 positions that it identifies through the federal law that the position classes that would be applicable to the city, but not all, and those are identified there. in regards to those peace officer, safety sensitive, firefighter positions, face-to-face care, a position funded by a federal grant, and then any other positions that our state or federal law requires testing of a job applicant. In summation, we did go through the personnel policy, and we did update different sections, mainly in regarding this, the employee standards of behavior, that's under section 3.04, under the influence of cannabis. Section 3.11, smoking cannabis products, was added. Section 4.03, pre-employment medical exams. Section XX1V, drug, alcohol, cannabis-free workplace. And then the lastly, not related to the cannabis, is this housekeeping, is in regards to city driving policy, that we updated some of the language for the driving record status per our legal counsel recommendations. So with that, we can stand for any questions council has in regards to the personnel policy updates.
All right, that was a lot of work. I just have one question regarding testing. It's a little bit, I think, more difficult. I'm not around cannabis, so I'm maybe just judging this, but a little bit harder to know if somebody is high or has ingested cannabis in the workplace. I know that right now it's just a blood test. So what are we putting in place to know when somebody is high? I don't think I'm asking that correctly, but it's a little bit harder than drinking or on drugs, right?
No, it's a good question. The League of Minnesota Cities is going to offer trainings to employees and supervisors and department heads to essentially look for signs. I don't want to speak for Chief Bauer. I'm not sure patrol with your different things that your officers are necessary to do, but I know the league will be providing different literature and training as things continue to come out. They've been working, I think, pretty diligently trying to get those things ready, but that is something that they have stated that they will have information for our supervisors, the things to keep an eye on for, just like they would for the use of alcohol or other things like that.
Okay, and then eventually my understanding is there will be a swab that you'll be able to take. Is that something that they do here? I know Mr. Lunen's looking at me. Did you not hear that? They're working on a swab right now.
I'm familiar with the swab that they've talked about. I think that is, right now, something that they're talking about potentially for driving.
Okay.
It's, I think, in early testing. I think it could, one of the things about it is it could potentially detect the immediacy because cannabis stays in your blood and it's something that can be tested longer. So I think that's in the early works. I don't know if you're any more familiar with it, but it's something, yes, that's been talked about. They're trying to develop it. It's been, in development, but that's what they're looking at for driving. I don't know necessarily if that's something that would be available to the city or what that's going to look like when it comes out. I think it's going to be sort of evaluations on other things, certainly the possession piece of it, which is outlined in here, certain observations that can be made, questioning, things of that nature. Similar to alcohol, how we would observe it, smell it, see it. I think it would be a similar approach. The swabs may be an option down the road, but I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to be immediately available.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's go with Member Luker. Any questions?
No questions.
Member Onstad?
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions. I just wanted to make a comment. Thank you for putting all this together. It's a lot of work in a little bit of time, and it's pretty demanding, so thank you.
Staff and help from our legal counsel too, so.
Yeah, I should have stated that, you and staff, sorry.
No, absolutely no, thank you.
We are
Appreciate it.
ahead of many cities.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that we are very much ahead of many cities.
I know
with
we were
this, so.
scrambling too down there, so.
All right, and Member Yeager?
I do have a question about Article 25, the driving policy. It's on page 104. Make it easier for you. Why are we going from examining driving records to criminal history?
Let me handle this. The reason for this is when we go through to evaluate, especially positions that are necessary to utilize city vehicles for the driving, we actually have to get essentially a waiver from the employee to do the background check and actually go through Minnesota Driving Services. This was something that was recommended by our legal counsel, where we can use a simple public history search where we can see if there have been any driving issues that have come out through the year on those employees.
So driving issues are considered criminal?
Like a driving while impaired or, now with the new law in place and open container type of action or something in that regard, those would be criminal, and they would be available through the public criminal history database that the city would be able to review, and if there's suspicion, or on the annual review to see if someone has a violation there.
But won't you miss if somebody is habitually speeding?
We would see those as well.
Also, speeding is
You'll see,
considered
you'll see
criminal.
petty misdemeanors you can see as well.
Okay.
And parking tickets.
Oh, so that's all considered criminal too?
It shows up on the public records, those petty crimes do, not so much on a more thorough criminal database, but yeah, that's something that technically the records are available out there, and publicly accessible.
Okay, all right.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
That's it?
I know that in my line of work, when I drive a lot, or if I use one of the cars that are offered to me, my background's always checked. So it's pretty standard in most business practices, I believe. All right, so if there are no other questions, we need a motion to approve the updated and revision of the city Wyoming personnel policy. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve by member Onstad. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 13, to consider the hiring of Grant McFarland as the Assistant City Administrator at $35.53 an hour / salary with a tentative start date of late August 2023. Mr. Linwood.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Iverson, members of council. The administrative department has completed selection process of a group of candidates for our assistant city administrator position. We did receive 17 applications for the position. We conducted first round interviews on top applicants, and then top candidates from that first round were moved on to the second round. From there, final interview candidates went through a skill practical exercise pertinent to the position and a personality profile, and then and identified here, I think, a final interview as well within the memo. Background check and employment verification has been completed on the applicant. The applicant selected was Grant McFarland. Mr. McFarland is most recently and currently working for the city of Maple Plain over the last 2 years as the assistant to the city administrator. Mr. McFarland has experience in administrative activities, including communications plans, research, ordinance development, website management, grant funding opportunities, and administration, city event management, council meeting material administration, and community engagement. Prior to the city of Maple Plain, Mr. McFarland worked in an administrative capacity at the city of Hanover, where he gained experience in administration, budget creation, capital improvement planning, park improvement plans, project development, and preparation of council materials for city council meetings. Mr. McFarland also received a Master's of Public Administration from Minnesota State University and a Bachelor of Science in Political Science from the Minnesota State University. Based on his qualifications, wage history, and work experience, I am recommending starting Grant McFarland's wage at step 2 of the position scale at $35.53 per hour / salary with a 6-month probationary period per the City of Wyoming personnel policy. And with that, I can take any questions.
All right, so we'll start with member Yeager.
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions. I'm just glad we found somebody.
And a qualified person, not just
Yes.
somebody.
Well,
So,
I mean, we
qualified,
wouldn't be
he's very
talking if they
qualified.
weren't qualified.
Yeah, he's
so.
very qualified.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yep, it's exciting.
So, yes.
Sorry about that. Member Onstad.
Just want to clarify, you said 35.53 per hour, but as a salary?
It is a salaried position, but that's what the hourly breaks out to. But it is a salary 2,080 salary position, so it is exempt from overtime.
Okay.
Member Luker.
I have no questions.
I just have a statement. I'm excited to have somebody coming in with some experience. He's already been in that role, and I think he'll be a really nice addition, and we're looking forward to meeting him sometime in late August.
Yes, we'll work on that finalized date, just trying to work through the other employers with that. so.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'll have a call from the Maple Plain mayor. So, all right, we need a motion to approve the hiring of Grant McFarland. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. All right, number 14, to consider hiring of Garrett Hines as building inspector with a starting wage of step 2, $31.79 an hour, with a tentative start date of August 21st, 2023. Mr. Wack, are you starting with this one?
I am, Madam Mayor.
Great.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. Department of Building Safety has completed a selection process on a group of candidates for our building inspector position. We had 9 applications. We interviewed 4, and 2 came back for a second interview. We're recommending Mr. Garrett Hines for the building inspection position. He's currently with the city of Brooklyn Park as a property maintenance inspector. He's in charge of 600 rental properties and 9 apartment buildings. We're recommending wage at step 2 of the position scale at $31.79 per hour with a 6-month probationary period per the City of Wyoming personnel.
All right, great. Let's start with Member Schilling. Any questions?
No questions. Again, happy we found somebody that we will work. That's pretty much it.
Okay, Member Onstad?
Would this also be $31.79 as a salary position?
No,
or
this would
is
be hourly.
Non-exempt.
Okay, Member Luker? No questions. Member Yeager?
No questions.
All right, and I have no questions either. I'm excited that we're, again, having somebody come in with experience, so. All right, we need a motion to approve the hiring of Garrett Hines as building inspector. I'll make the first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 15, to consider resolution 230874, a resolution regulating non-essential water usage upon critical water deficiency as authorized by Minnesota statute 103G .291 and the City of Wyoming ordinance 3660. Mr. Weck or Mr. Linwood? Or Mr. Keating?
Mr. Keating will, I think, start us out, and then I can certainly add anything, but I think Mr. Keating,
Sure.
go ahead.
All right,
We received a letter on July 21st from the state of Minnesota, the DNR, notifying us that we are moving into the drought phase warning for our area and 9 other counties in central Minnesota. Going through our history between January and July of this year, the city needs to shave 281,000 gallons per day off our current rate of consumption. This could continue into 2024, depending on what we get for precipitation going forward. Notices will be sent out by the DNR at that time. This is all contingent and part of our appropriation permit that is pulled through the DNR. So we are obligated to follow this directive.
okay. All right, questions from, I think I'll start first of all. Are we gonna be able to put out our big digital sign or whatever somewhere on what we normally do on Railroad Park or?
We did have a conversation about that at staff level. Right now, it is being utilized in the detour for, on Glen Oak for the East Viking project, but I think that project is starting to not wrap up, but getting close. We're anticipating the second lift going down the second week of August, so I think that would be our idea, and I've spoke with Chief Bauer as far as doing that for a bit as we do the initial ban, and we'll obviously be advertising through our social media and any other means that we possibly can to try to get the word out.
Okay, great. And then, I don't remember this, but does Goodview Park still water? So we wanna make sure, they
We've-
used to,
We've shut that off already.
okay, good.
Goodview Park is not technically on the municipal water system, but we do have a deep well sunk there.
Yeah,
We've taken it offline for the
okay,
time being.
okay, great. And, we don't really know when the end date is gonna be, just unless we get a lot of water like this weekend, like they're saying?
Got a
That
little
probably
help.
won't even do it.
We got a little help last week, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough. We've kind of been, as we've gone through the gravel roads, you can tell everything is so dry.
Yeah,
It'll take quite a bit of rainfall to saturate that soil enough to begin to move forward, but we're a ways off.
okay,
Looking at our well conditions from January to July, our static level across our 3 wells is down somewhere between 9 and 10 feet. So it is noticeable.
yeah,
This current structure of what the DNR has for does not apply to private wells.
okay,
That would be a risk that homeowner would be taking, because those wells are typically quite a bit shallower than what we have.
yeah,
So, if this does continue, we're gonna be seeing a lot more issues.
yeah, okay, that sounds good. And then I know we put in our new water meters on several, 35% with our new meters. So is that something that's gonna show up on some water, I mean, are we gonna see some of that consumption where there shouldn't be based on those water meters?
As far as the new meters, if people were, once the ban is on, we would be able to see those on flaggings if there was significant usage. I don't necessarily know if it would flag based on the usage, but it would be something that we could be aware of as part of that. And we are about 40% through, actually, as an update today, we're about 40% through on our water meter change-up project, just for the council's information.
Perfect, okay. So other than my questions, Member Onstad?
Previously, we had a water ban that did not include people that had newly laid sod. Will that be implemented here?
We will still be issuing 4-week permits for people who do apply, that we did work through to get a form out that has to be prominently displayed on the property. That is okay for now. That is always subject to change depending on what gets passed down to us from the DNR.
Okay.
As of right now, that will be allowed.
Okay.
All right. Member Luker?
I have no questions.
All right. Member Yeager?
Will the sod permits also include new seeding permits?
Yes.
Okay. And are the restrictions the same as what we did in 2021? Okay.
Correct. I think the only change on this one, I think there was some discussion in regards to community wells, where this time the DNR did cover community wells as well.
Last time we covered community wells too.
I couldn't remember if we had some, but that would be the same as last time, but
Yeah.
other than that, though, I think the same, other than, I think this time we've gone and done a little more diligence for those temporary permits, where we'll actually have residences fill out an application, and then we'll give them a predominantly brightly colored permit, so we know that they can water that seed or that sod.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, and Member Schilling?
No questions.
All right, then we need a motion to approve Resolution 230874, a resolution regulating non-essential water usage. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion to approve by Member Luker. Do we have a second? I'll make that second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Okay. All right, just was listening. Number 16, the Wyoming City, we're gonna go into closed session on number 16, so we'll do council reports first. Let's start with Member Yeager.
Okay, I attended the budget work session. I also attended National Night Out last night, where the Friends of the Library scooped up about 400 and plus cones, or I think we went through 15 gallons of ice cream, feeding everybody. And thank you all for coming, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you, Member Schilling.
I have no report. Thank you for those that are attending and those that are watching.
Okay, Member Onstad.
I attended National Night Out last night, and it was fantastic. Thanks to everybody that participated in that, and to the city for putting that on. And thanks for everybody showing up tonight and viewing on live stream.
All right, Member Luker.
I also attended the work session, as well as Night to Unite, and a huge thank you to our public safety department and city staff for creating such a great community event.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. I also was at Night to Unite, the budget session as well, and just a fabulous event. And when the rainbow came out after the rain, that was just perfect. So you guys did a great job. So we really appreciate everybody who attended, even in the rain. So I thought that was great. Anyways, thanks to everybody who's watching. Thanks for being in our audience. It's always nice to have people here, and hope you come back. All right, thank you. We are going to go into a 5-minute